Welcome
All right.
back to another episode of Unfiltered Brothers. Here you have your boy Derek. There you have your boy Joe.
Yo, yo.
There you have your boy Rand.
What's going on, everybody?
And he was so good on the last episode that we had to bring him back for another one. Tim
Hey,
Evans, what's good?
we here.
We back at it. Talk some more real stuff to y'all. You know, and we gonna get right into it. We got some good topics for y'all for this episode. Pretty much came from a person that listened to our podcast and gave us some good feedback and just gave us feedback on like they on the Talik episode, and they was like they wanted to hear more from it, especially when it comes to different like mental health issues in the black community, or just black men itself just not being open as we want them to. So I'll come to Joe first with the first question. Why aren't men, especially black men, more vulnerable than they are?
Um. All right. So I'll say it's a combination of things. I think that depends on. Hold on, my laptop. Sorry about that. I think it depends on the circumstances that are presented in that black man's life. For me, personally, I was raised by a single parent. You know, my mom and my grandmother raised me. They are essentially my parents. My dad was in my life, but not, you know, actively there in the household and stuff. So a lot of things fell upon my mom to teach me how to become a man. So it wasn't I wasn't ashamed of that though. Like I tell it openly and everything. But when I was growing up, people would say like, you know, like, oh, you have like feminine ways. Cause you know, I've been watching my parents grow up and my mom and my grandma and stuff. Like I've been watching them my whole life. So in my head, I'm like, this is what you do. And then I didn't have a man right there to like be like, oh no, son, you know, you do this, you do that. Like I remember like the first time I met Officer Brown, Officer Brown from the middle school. He
Yeah.
was one of my grandmother's friends. And he kind of like helped me, him, Coach House, they kind of helped me like with a lot of stuff. I remember Coach House taught me how to tie a tie. I remember Officer Brown was like he would coach me because he went to First Baptist as well, First Baptist Church and everything like that. And I remember he taught me how to give a firm handshake. Like he was like, you don't do a loose handshake, you get you firmly, you know, whatever, and stuff like that. Just stuff like that. So over time, I kind of overcompensated. I was like, I don't need to be vulnerable. I don't need to do anything to make me look soft out here because I don't want people to think that I'm soft. And in turns, it took I think that that's like what was my reason because I was like, people already think that I'm like I didn't have a dad here, so I was like, I don't know what I got to do to be a man, but I don't want to do anything to make me look soft out here. So you know, but it came out to relationships because of course in intimate relationships you have to be vulnerable. You got to open up. You got to talk. And I was like, fuck all that shit. I'm a man. Like I'm either gonna do it and get it done, or shit. If shit don't go right, I'll get over it. Like you might see me get mad at something, but you're not gonna see me out here like you know crying and nothing like that, blah blah blah, because that's not what men do. And I had to realize that like while I am a man at the end of the day, I'm also a man with feelings. So I had to learn how to be vulnerable. And it was weird because I thought that people would use my vulnerability as a weapon against me. So I didn't want people throwing like I didn't want to be vulnerable with someone and then somebody being like, "Oh, nigga, just the other day you was crying," you know what I'm saying, like some shit like that. I'm like, bro, don't throw that shit in my face when I'm coming to you as a bro and stuff like that. So it was weird, finding people in my life that allowed me to be vulnerable in a space that I was comfortable. And with that, that kind of helped me learn how to be a little bit more vulnerable. Like just be like a little bit more myself, if that makes sense. But I think that was like my reason. I don't but I also think it's a history thing too, bro. Like I dead
Yeah.
ass do. Like I think that a lot of it comes from you know, we talk about slavery a lot. I think that a lot of it comes from what black men saw. Like I always bring up the movie 12 Years a Slave, and I always bring up this one particular scene when the slaves are working in the field. One of the watchers, one of the white watchers, end up like taking this dude's wife, slave's wife, in the shed, raping her, coming out, and the son goes, "You're not gonna say anything." And all the dad said was, he was like, "Sir," and then the dude shot him in the head. I think that, black men in particular, along with the black race, were beaten down so much that we were taught to be submissive in a sense. That when we came out of slavery, to overcompensate for that broken downness, we had to be tough. Like, oh son, don't sit. You do what you got to do, because it was taught. Like I said, mental health wasn't taught. Wasn't really talked about in the black communities, and it was just like, you do what you got to do, you get the fuck over it, and you keep it going. It is what it is. Let it go. You got other stuff to worry about. You get to be a man, you got to be a provider. This one and then third. I don't think it was much time for us to be vulnerable. And then, like, society.
Yeah.
Society don't want no weak man. Want no soft man with feelings out here.
I had a follow-up question, what you said about crying.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't men cry?
Because
personally, I've only. Well, why do you think that though?
No, I mean, I'm not saying.
Because personally, I've only seen, well, for me as well. Anyway, I've only really seen men cry. This including myself. It's like at a funeral, or if they're angry, really angry.
Yeah.
That's really the only time I've seen in myself, honestly, seen men cry. Why is that?
I think it's a society thing, bro. And I think it's a thing with ourselves too. Like I said, look, with the man, you want to be a provider, a protector. Like, those things, crying is like society's sign of weakness. You crying, you're sad. That means you're feeling something. That means, like, it's soft in a sense. I don't agree with that, of course, because I'll never forget, like, I'll be watching TV sometimes, dog, and I'll be like, let Mufasa die.
Let Mufasa, yeah.
It hits the same every single time, dog.
That was a hard time for me,
bro. And I remember, I was in college, and I was watching something. I don't forget what the fuck it was. And I was sitting over there, like, my ex was crying, I was crying, and she looked over at me. She was like, "You crying?" I was like, No, I ain't crying. I'm watching the show with you, like, what I'm saying. But boy, I'm telling you, like, and I had that memory so vividly, because I was like, what the fuck was wrong with me crying? Like, nigga, it was a sad scene, like.
What?
So I should feel the right to cry, but, like, dude, society has implanted, like, brainwashing, thinking that men shouldn't cry sometimes. And I think it, like, among other things, but that's just my opinion.
I ain't gonna bullshit you. I cried when Kobe died.
Oh no, that was most definitely, that was like I was like, fuck, man. But I didn't cry when Kobe died. I cried when I watched this video, and it said that, like, Kobe was like an inspirational figure to the black community. And when they were explaining what he meant to, like, us, I was like, damn. Because, I didn't think about it that deep at the time. I was just like, damn, like, Kobe died. I was sad. And then he started talking about it, and I was like, damn. I cried when Bernie Mac died, though. I cried when the Kings of Comedy gave the eulogy. I'll never forget because it was Cedric and then Steve Harvey. Steve Harvey choked up. DL Hughley choked up. And I was like, there you go.
That man cussed in church too. He
Yeah.
said, don't act like y'all didn't know I was gonna be the one.
Yeah. He definitely did. But
winning all them damn championships. Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. Yeah.
But yeah, man. I don't know though. Like, because, like I said, I was raised in a household of women, so I feel like mentally I should be okay to cry, but I'm not. I'm just like, nah, don't cry. Don't be soft out here. But now it's different though. Now it's like, nigga, I don't really care.
Yeah.
Like, vulnerability to me now is a whole different aspect.
Cause that's like
but nah, like,
that's like when younger, we were scared to tell each other or other men and stuff, I love you.
Yeah.
Like, younger, like, that was a big thing. Like, that was a big issue. You can't tell your boy you love him, or any another man you love him. But now it's like, hey, what's up, fam? Love you. Be safe. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So that's crazy.
Yo, that's really Why don't we want to show vulnerability though?
That's a
But
good
we do
question.
now, though. At first, we didn't
Mm-hmm.
because, like, once again, to go back to those, like you said, older times. Um, and even saying, "You a man or a mouse." You know what
Mm.
I'm saying? Like, you gotta, you ain't no time to be crying out here. Ain't no time to be soft out here because the world don't love you. You know what I mean? As
Mm-hmm.
talking to black men, you know what I'm saying? Never loved us. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Right.
So it's like the world don't love you. So what you gonna cry for? You gonna cry? You gonna make it happen? You know, is how it was presented to us. So that's where it came from. And then it's like you most definitely not gonna cry in front of your woman. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And then as time goes on, we talking about progression. Then women started being a little bit more independent. So it's like, oh damn, I'm for sure ain't about to cry in front of you now because what you gonna do is turn that and talk bad about me and tell me that I'm soft.
Can I
And
ask
I
you a question? Oh, go ahead. Can I ask you
so
a personal question, Tim?
yeah,
Um,
what's up?
so you as a father of your two sons,
Uh huh.
what is your stance on vulnerability when it comes to them? Like, because like I said, I never had a dad. Like my mom was literally when our relationship got more mature, my mom was very vulnerable with me. She was open. She started talking to me more. You know, she started letting me see more of her because as a parent, you know, her thing was like, I'm not gonna let him see me sweat because I don't want him to know because I'm providing for him. But like you as sons raising, especially two black men, what's your stand? Like, how do you feel about vulnerability in that aspect?
I never have a problem. Like even for myself, like growing up, I didn't have a problem with that. Like that wasn't. I always told my dad I love him, or he told me. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Even still to this day, you know what I'm saying? Giving your kids kisses on the cheek and stuff like that. Like
Mm-hmm.
I've always been. I was raised that way. You know what I mean?
Mm.
But even now, like looking at the way the world goes and stuff like that, it's like we got to break certain generational curses and stigmas too, to where even if they do disagree with you, it's not necessarily wrong. You know what I mean? Let me hear what you got to say. It's a way to do it, but let me hear what you got to say. You know, and then we'll handle it like that. Don't be afraid to tell me anything. Tell me
Okay.
everything because I'd much rather you tell me than you go tell someone else that have ill intentions for you. So,
Mm.
as far as kids go, I most definitely want them to be vulnerable with me. I mean, I tell my boys I love them like 10 times a day. You know what I'm saying? And me being a person that don't care what nobody say, I don't care. It ain't my fault. If you don't show that love to your kids, then I'm sorry. But
Yeah.
everyone that I know, you know what I mean, especially in this day and age that have kids, they do the same thing with their kids too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think again, it's just the way that the world is going. Like now, everybody's seeing the endangerment of our culture and our men. So I think it's more acceptable now. We like, look, especially
Ooh.
when you talk about telling your friends you love them and stuff like that. Why is it more acceptable now? Why are we doing it now? Because truly and honestly, we don't know if we're gonna see them again. You know what I mean? We don't know
Mm.
if they get pulled over for a ticket if they're gonna come out of that. You know what I mean? So hey, look, man, you might not be able to tell. It sounds weird,
No,
but
no, no,
you
no,
might not,
no.
it's like you might not be able to be soft with your woman, but you can come cry to me, dog.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because I understand. I understand what you're going through. You know what I mean? I understand you might not be able to tell her everything because you don't want her to view you like that. She shouldn't view you like that, but she might. But you could tell me because I got you. Like that brotherhood is most definitely a lot stronger now. But once again, I think it's due to
Mm.
I don't,
the
yeah,
the endangerment that we in.
right. I don't know
Wow.
if this
That.
a fact. Oh, go ahead, Joe.
No, no, no. I was just saying like I never thought about it like that. I never thought about the fact that like literally like, yo, nigga, I might not see you
Yeah.
tomorrow. So let me tell you how I feel now. What were you saying, Derek?
Like now, I was saying I don't know. This of course is an opinion. This is what I've seen mostly. I feel like it's more acceptable for for a guy to have a go-to guy to go to talk about his feelings, and same similar to like a woman. I feel like a woman will go to another woman and have that conversation before she go and talk to a man about it. I guess it depends on the person, but I feel like I done came to rant a lot of times for stuff. You know what I'm saying? Especially when it came to like relationship stuff. You know what I'm saying? I sometimes I feel like I can't go to the opposite. Honestly, sometimes I feel like I can't talk to the opposite sex about certain things, especially when it comes to um stuff like that. Maybe I could talk to my cousin Bree about some stuff, but most of the times I go to either like Rand or talk to that stuff, or another guy that if they're in the same environment as me, I go and talk to them. But that's what I've seen a lot. I don't know why that's the case, um, but I guess that's something we just have to
So do
I
you
think it's
think? Oh, go ahead, Tim.
I think it's because not as far as the talker goes, but as far as the listener goes, you got to understand that sometimes people don't
Mm,
want. So I might know that my thoughts are fucked up, right? No, it don't mean I'm gonna act on them. I might know that they fucked up, but I might just got to get it out. So I don't want you to tell me that it's messed up because I already know that it's messed up. I just got to say what I got to say. So I might not want a response. I just need you to listen.
Listen,
I don't
I,
need your advice. I just need you to listen to me. Let me get it out. I know, like you. Everybody has crazy thoughts from time to time. So it's like, look, I know this might sound crazy. I would never act on this, but let me just, oh man, let me get my frustration out to you.
just get it out.
You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? But sometimes you feel like you can't go to certain people because not everybody understand that. They gonna look at you and be like, "Oh, you crazy! I can't believe you saying this stuff," and da 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 da. And it's like, come on, I don't need all that. I just got to get it off my
I just
chest.
had to. I just had to. I just need to check moment to vent, basically.
Right. You know what I mean? Like, let's say, for example, let's say Joe, you come to me and you telling me some stuff, and it's like, I know you would never act on this, and this. So I'm not gonna judge you on what you're saying, but I know you just gotta blow it off, man. It's gonna be all good, you know.
Yeah,
But sometimes people don't understand that, and then you go tell them stuff, and then now they looking at you crazy. So then you get, you know,
and I will. I will say this to add on to both of y'all points. I can't. I'm not saying I can't, but I'm hesitant going. And I don't want this to mean seem like I'm not open with my girlfriend. We talk about we're pretty much open as far like as far as my feelings and stuff, as far as her feelings. But I know she is an overthinker like me, and I know that she cares deeply for me. So I sometimes I am a little bit hesitant, and I know she's gonna listen to the podcast, but I've already talked to her about this as well.
yeah,
Um, I'm a little bit hesitant going to her because I don't want her to worry. I don't want her to sit there and stress herself out because like when I left the post office and I went through my phase of like, my pride and my ego and stuff like that. Um, I kept a brave face because I didn't want her to see me sweating it because I'm like, because at the end of the day, she knows like she's like, all right, Joseph, I know Joseph, and I know he gonna be good because we love him and support him. We always got him, but it's a difference when like I because if she was to come to me and be like, I'm stressed, blah 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 blah, then I'm gonna be like, oh Lord, now I gotta stress because it's what you do for a loved one. Um, but versus like my boys, because like especially Derek, like Derek helped me a lot through it. Because when we were talking and you were like, I was unemployed for this amount of time, like I know what you're going through, bro. And I was like, you know what, like that's a valid point. Like I was like, that made me feel good because I could connect with somebody that had been through what I had been through. And on top of that, it was a notion of I knew I wasn't going to be judged, like you said, for feeling how I felt. And I wasn't like really talking anything crazy, but like at the end of the day, like when you mad, you just going off, like you just everything's like, man, fuck this, fuck that, blah, blah, blah. I'm gonna go put this mask on and hit a lick, and you like, nigga, you're not gonna do this, like,
right,
but
right.
it's just, but
Let me
Rand,
ask you this question
oh,
though:
go ahead.
Do you think that the reason you say you can't go and not that you can't talk to her, but
Yeah.
you don't want her to worry, right?
Hmm.
But we're gonna triple back. You said that that's what you saw your mom do for
Yeah.
you. So do
So
you think that that's why you?
generational curses. I'm glad you said that because I meant to bring that point up too. Breaking generational curses. Um, I see how my grandmother and my mom interacted. They're my parents. Like essentially, like I've seen them my whole life. I see how they go. Of course, I picked up on a lot of their habits, good and bad. Um, my mom wasn't a very open person with me. As a kid, it wasn't. It felt like it was none of my business. She's like, I'm doing what I have to do for you, so that way you never have to go without. Don't worry about this grown folk stuff. So when
Right,
I got older, and especially when I went to college, I started seeing it more because the responsibilities and the stuff that was placed upon her was a little bit more. And I was an adult, an adult in age at the time. So she came to me and talked to me about a little bit more stuff that was bothering her. And but at that point, you got to realize I was 20 something. I had already been kind of set in my ways. I didn't really see a problem with what she was doing because that's how I've been taught. And it was crazy because it wasn't really until like a couple of years ago where I realized that that was a problem, because it was a generational problem of like, she never let me see her sweat. So I never knew that she was vulnerable on that stage. So then in my head, I'm like, I can't let them see me sweat. I can't let my loved ones see me sweat, you know, because, you know, my mom didn't really let me see it. Not that she would let you want to see it, but since I
Right.
never knew it was okay to go through it, I didn't know it was okay to like to talk about it and stuff, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because you'll be surprised about how much of your parents' ways actually stick with you in the long run.
Man, yeah, it's crazy. I'll tell you something else too, is to break that, it all starts with a conversation, right? So
Mm-hmm.
of course, like you said, y'all had that conversation and you want to
Yeah.
be open and stuff like that. But I tell you like this, like for me, and I'm gonna say my old lady, because niggas don't play about their old ladies, right?
Play by their old
That's
lady.
right. They don't play
They
about your
die
old
by
lady.
their old
They
lady.
die about
Look, so
it.
so look, we're just gonna put that out there. But look, but no, so we grew up completely different,
Hmm.
right? And even for myself, talking a moment of honesty and talking about, maturity, I had to realize that certain things that I was used to growing up and us having kids now, like I was raised differently than she was raised differently. So she saw her parents do things differently from mine. So we would clash sometimes on certain things because it's like,
Hmm.
why you don't do this? And then they'll be like, well, why you don't do this? And then I had to
Hmm.
stop and realize, like, hold on, wait, I'm used to this, seeing it this way, and you're used to seeing it this way. Never realize, you know what I mean? But if you don't have that
Hmm.
conversation and you don't stop
Yeah.
and view things from the whole spectrum of it, man, it can get crazy, and again, it goes back to why can't we be vulnerable?
Mm.
Like you have to have that conversation. At some point, you have to be vulnerable enough to say, hey, look, this is how I feel. This is why I am the way I am. And even you got to be smart enough to understand that it's a reason why everybody is the way that they are.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm
Bingo.
saying?
That
Mm.
no, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, and then like just relationship wise, that's what it takes. Everybody acts a certain way because of what they're programmed from a youngin. You know.
Yeah. I think the conversation of vulnerability is a little bit personal, especially with me, because vulnerability means that I have to drop everything, all those mental barriers that I have put up to project. I don't know if you guys remember, Will Smith had talked about it on like one of his interviews. I don't know if it was a Red Table Talk or what, but I remember him saying that his image as Will Smith only like lasted so long until eventually he got to the point where he couldn't be what he was projecting anymore. He had to be true to himself. I think he talked about it when he had like did skydiving or
Got
something.
a, I think that was a Breakfast Club when he did that interview.
Yeah. And it resonated with me personally because like vulnerability to me means that I have to drop the projection of Joe that I put out, the intellectual, the wise one, like I have to drop the layers and the walls of who I'm projecting to society and letting you fully see me as me. And in essence, of course, it sounds good when you write it on paper, but doing it is a lot harder than you think because of the fact that like, all right, this is who I am. Like I'm Joe. Like I'm who I am, and now I gotta let you see me for like this vulnerable person. It's almost like I'm the infant, and you have to like look at me and like accept me for this. And I don't know what's about to happen because I'm completely vulnerable in this moment, and it's kind of scary. But then going back to what we said before, you gotta get used to being uncomfortable and
Yeah,
stuff like that.
following up what y'all was saying. When you talk about why someone can't or can be vulnerable, I honestly I wrote it down, but it comes one of the reasons it comes down to trust. You know, trust is a motherfucker. Like I look at trust as like grades. You know what I'm saying? Like you can easily lose a good grade quickly. Like you can lose
Mm-hmm.
trust quickly off of one mistake. You know what I'm saying? You get that F, that grade gonna go down quick. But it's hard to regain that motherfucker after you lose it. If that person has to do so much to regain your trust back, and like, because I can trust y'all with anything that I have to say. I know that y'all won't go back and just throw my business out there in the streets. I know y'all can be confidential with the information that I gave y'all. But then when you talk about like relationships and stuff like that, just being transparent, just like with Joe, is just like how he was raised. He was just raised by his mom, and just me is just like it's like seeing so many failed relationships in my life. Seeing so many failed relationships in my life, being on the other side of just um having girlfriends or whoever, I don't know what to call them anymore, girlfriends cheating on you or whatever, you know then you start building that wall up, like I can't trust none of these people. So now you have to move accordingly. So now it's like, I don't want to express really how I feel, because I know y'all gonna hurt my feelings anyway. Especially what you see out here from a lot of, well, I ain't gonna say from females, but I'm just talking about Prince Edward, what I've seen in Prince Edward. But yeah, it's like, so stuff like that, it's like, damn, like I don't know if I could, like, you don't even have a reason not to trust that person. You just, from the shit that you went through in your life, you already done decided that I'm not gonna put all my trust into this person, and I'm not gonna be that open to them, so my feelings won't get hurt. So I think trust is like a big thing, and like just life experiences itself can affect like how vulnerable a person is. um yeah, that's my take on that, some of my
So
take on it.
can I ask you a question going off of that?
Yeah.
What, so when you're talking about trust, do you think that, and I'll say my standpoint first. I feel like we all as people have a personal responsibility to heal ourselves mentally, to understand that, to break the cycles, to, you know, uh to, like, to basically become the best version of ourselves as possible. When does it start? When do you start? I say, like, because I get everything that you're saying, but like, when do you start, like, stop blaming the existential circumstances for your upbringing into like
When you
your personal life? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like, I hear what you, like, because me and you, we're on the same page. I want to make that known. Like, and I'm still going through it myself, learning how to be vulnerable, etc. But I'm also learning that, like, I had to realize it's not my partner's responsibility to deal with my shit. Like, I would like them to help me through it, and I would like them to support me, but it's not their job to help me through that shit.
Right.
Like, I have to have a personal responsibility to myself to heal myself, to make sure that I'm the best version of myself. Um, but do you think that maybe it depends on the person? Like, cause I heard stories like, men be like, man, I've been in these streets forever. I ain't never gonna come out these streets. I've been out here wilding, and then they meet the one, and it's like they turn to a whole different dude. And I'm like, well, does it really? Is it about the individual, or is it about the person that they, like, they choose to do it, or the reason they decide to do it for? Because the same thing with kids. Like, I might have a kid and I'd be like, oh, I'm this tough nigga today, and then I have a daughter and you see me doing tea parties.
Right.
It's like when do you stop blaming me and blaming it? Like, when does it all come together,
I think,
basically?
yeah, I think it could be both.
Mm-hmm.
But I was going to answer, when you that goes back to like our last episode, self-reflection. When you realize you're in control of you, like
Mm-hmm.
you're in control of your actions, your attitude, and everything like that. I know for me personally, I had to come to realizations of like, okay, maybe I am fucking up. Maybe I do need to change some shit around. Um, you know, and when you do look at those failed like relationships and shit like that, it's like, okay, I know I don't want that to happen with me. So what can I do differently so that won't happen? Then I
Mm.
started looking more into, that's when I started growing myself more, um, how to build better relationships with people, and just looking at people who do have, successful relationships and marriages and stuff like that. Not necessarily focusing on the failed ones, but
Okay.
focusing on the ones that seeing what they're doing in their relationships and stuff like that. But mostly the main thing is me realizing I can do different.
Okay.
I
What do you
want
think,
people.
Ryan?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
Hey
Nah, that
man,
was
look,
it.
y'all boys
Don't you say it.
over here killing it, right? But I was about this close to pulling the forward. But I've been vulnerable, for the most part, especially with the bros and especially with my girlfriend. So,
Mm.
and she's a very good listener. And like Tim was saying, sometimes you just need to get whatever you have on your chest off your chest. And she's good when it comes to that because she doesn't give a lot of feedback. And that just gives me the chance to get what I got on me off me.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then I think I do a self-assessment. How can I change it for myself? You know what I'm saying? So in a sense,
Mm-hmm.
giving advice to myself on how to deal with whatever situation, so and I mean, I talk to y'all guys all the time. So,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
y'all give back that feedback. So it's like, all right, cool. I have her in my life where I can just get it off my chest with no feedback. And I got y'all where I can get it off my chest and get feedback. So I kind of got the best of both worlds, man.
That's actually interesting because sometimes people be like, I need my partner to do this, this, and this. And like, no, like your partner is who they are. Like they have their strengths, they have their weaknesses, they are their own individual. Um Sometimes I don't need my partner, like you said, I don't need, like Tim was saying and y'all was saying, I don't need that feedback. I need you to listen. I want to come through this door and I'm be like, man, fuck today. These people out here got me fucked up. I'm about to knock all these motherfuckers out. And I need you just to be like, I don't need you to be like, don't do that. Like, I don't want you to be out here fucking. Like, no, like, I've been out here, like, holding it down, being who I am. Like, I'm not going to do that. But let me talk my shit. And you be like, oh, babe, don't make me go down there and fuck somebody else. Just like, listen.
Oh nah,
That's,
see, look, I'm gonna tell you what Bree do. Bree be like, oh nah, fuck it, do it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
you talking all that shit, put your money where your
yeah,
mouth
yeah, yeah. She said, you know what, go ahead, do it. Fuck it. You be all right.
I had
Come
a
on,
que-
babe.
I had a
Really, that's what
question.
you gonna do?
What's up, Dad?
I had a question. So you talk about like sometimes you do just want people to listen, right? But what happens if you do you want to be vulnerable, you want to express how you feel, and you want to receive that feedback, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
anytime we give each other feedback is always good. But what happened if let's say you're talking to your spouse, right? And you're explaining how you feel, and the feedback you get isn't what you was expected, so it kind of made you even feel even another type of way, like build up like some type of anger within you. Like how would you feel about
Well,
like
I
that?
think I think that kind of goes back to what we do, Derek. As being unfiltered, we tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear.
Right.
You know, so I feel like if that's the case, you should already expect some type of. Well, it depends on your mindset because sometimes you need that kind of that criticism in a sense, I guess. You know what I'm saying? Of what you really don't want to hear. So you might be able to get a different look on things. I mean, you might be pissed. You'll get over it.
Mm. Yeah.
You know.
Uh, I'll say this, and Derek, you can contest to this. Like, like Jalil, that don't ever go to Jalil asking for advice. And it's not even that he don't give good advice. It's like Jalil, his motto is, I can't give you advice on something that I'm not personally going through. So I don't want to tell you something and it not be like right or etc. Like he'll think too much on the advice, but he's like the perfect person to listen, like that listens to me. Like I know that when he does say something, it's I need to hear it. But at the end of the day, like if I just want to get that shit off my chest, that's who I'll go to. Um, but I feel like it's two ways that your question could be interpreted. Like if I go to my girl and I'm like, I'm thinking about starting a business, and she says like, well, a business comes with this and this and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then I go to y'all, I'm like, I'm thinking about starting a business. Y'all like, let's do it. Of course, her response isn't going to be what I want to hear, because I want to hear like, do it, you can do it, et cetera, et cetera. Um, do I think that's what I need to hear? Maybe. I think that sometimes when we come up with shit at the drop of a fly, we think that like, I feel like we'll think it all the way through, but not everybody will think it all the way through. Um, and I feel like sometimes that's just their way of being a cautious person. Like, hey, like I see your dream and I see your hustle, but don't forget you gotta do this. Don't forget you gotta do that. Don't forget you got this, and don't forget you got that. Um, and I feel like as boys, we're pretty unfiltered, literally, when it comes to each other. I know if I throw out some outlandish idea, y'all gonna be like, y'all gonna say try it, go for it, but y'all gonna be like, nigga, that's dumb as hell. Like if it's
Fuck is you
something
doing?
stupid. But some people don't have that. Some people literally have niggas that be like, oh well, nigga, go do it. I'm thinking about driving my car off the bridge, getting the insurance claim. Oh well, nigga, go do it. I'm thinking
Yeah,
about going to hit this lick. And well, nigga, go do it. And instead of the niggas that be like, nigga, that's illegal. Like, don't do that dumb shit.
right.
So I
But at the same time, it's like if you already know it's illegal. So if I say go do it, it's like shit, if that's what you want to do. You know it's stupid, but if that's what you want to
yeah,
do, you do it. But I also think, like what Duran was saying, like if you gonna act, don't come to me for advice if you're already expecting a certain answer. You know what I'm saying? If I'm gonna ask you for advice, I need to be open that anything might come out. I don't know what it's gonna be. You know what I mean? That's why I'm asking for advice. Like you gonna tell me one thing, then I'll go to somebody else, they tell me something else, and I'm like, okay, well, I got this from this person, this from this person, this is what I'm gonna do. But I'm not gonna go ask you something. For one, I don't expect anything out of anybody anyway. You know what I mean? That's something that I've learned. Like you can't, for one, especially don't expect yourself from other people. Right. So I'm not gonna go ask you something like, oh yeah, let me go ask Derek this because this what he gonna say. No, I'm gonna ask him because I really want to know what he thinks, and I have no idea what he might say.
um, no, being open minded to the is I think is a crucial part. But I don't know. I feel like if I come to you, I kind of just want that pep talk. Like sometimes you like, I don't really want you to tell me. Well, yeah, I get it. I don't know. I just feel like it's like it depends on, like you said, the individual. Like if I got this idea and shit, and I'm like, I just need someone to talk me into doing it.
But see, let's be honest though.
That's mhm.
Most times, if you ask a certain person for something, you're asking that person for a reason. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? If I want to hear something that's real, I know who I'm gonna go to. If I want to hear something
True.
that's kind of positive, I know who I'm gonna go to.
That's true.
If I want a whole conversation about it, well, I'm gonna ask the whole group in the group text, like, "Hey, what y'all
Nah,
think about this?" You know what I mean? So that's just how that goes in
nah,
my.
nah. You most definitely correct. How the hell did we get
Yeah,
off vulnerability to this?
it,
I just thought about it. I was like,
it
man,
goes it goes together. It
But
goes
yeah.
together.
because he was talking about asking your being vulnerable enough to ask your partner for.
Yeah,
mm. I was like, how did we get on this conversation? But yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
yeah. Um, any final remarks on vulnerability?
I don't think there's
Cool.
nothing wrong with being vulnerable. I just think
Yeah,
that
man.
you just gotta do it when you gotta do
Yeah, it's nothing
Yep.
wrong with it at all.
I'm an
Um,
artist and I'm sensitive about my shit.
it.
um, going into the another question. Um, skip over that one. Pretty much is, of course, mental health is a big thing in the Black community, and a lot of times we've been in a state of depression. Um, and I just wanted to talk about like what got us in that depressed state, and how did we how did we overcome it. Of course everyone's situation is different, but how we overcame it can be helpful to somebody um out there. um and I'll go first just because I know for me, it was 2018, of course. 2018, that was the year that I left Longwood and I started working in Richmond, and then I left that job and I was unemployed for several months. But during the ending of 2018, that was also the year that I lost my grandma. Um, and then so for me, just going through all of that, that's the same year that I got out of my relationship too. All in that time period. Um, so going through all of that, it felt for me, it felt like I was alone. I didn't really know what my purpose was during that time, especially being unemployed, just sitting around the house, not really being productive as I supposed to be. You know, it felt like I was just useless. But it felt like I didn't know who I was as a person. I was kind of lost. Um, so and with my grandma dying, like that was somebody that helped raise me, and we lived with her. That was kind of like a big piece of me that I felt like that left. Um, but it just felt like no one could say or do anything to even make me feel better. But just trying to find myself again, um, after realizing that what I was doing wasn't going to get me anywhere, it's just I started to um surround. That's when I really started focusing on like positive energy, just surrounding myself with positive energy, being around positive people, um speaking positive things into my life. um and that's what I was telling Joe in the last episode, like you saying stuff that I was going to talk about later, um but just talking of just how important association is, how important your words is. um you know Whatever you put into your mind, like just like music or music, no, personally music don't shouldn't really influence you like that. But if you constantly talk it, your words, and eventually, how is it thoughts turn into words turn into, or is it the other
Yeah.
way around? Words turn to your thoughts.
Well, thoughts become words, words
Thoughts
become
return.
things. Either way, yeah.
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 So, and eventually that becomes your actions, and eventually your action becomes your habits, and everything like that. So yeah, for me, it's just being around that positive environment, understanding it is a brighter side to things, and just realizing that I can't keep myself in this position, because nothing's going to get better for me doing being like this. So I just have to get out there, and surround myself in that positive environment. Um, that would really help me get out of that state of mind. Just being around that positive energy.
Nah, I agree completely. Um, like I said, like I was saying, when me and my girlfriend, when she told me, I can't help you with this. Like you really need to go talk to somebody. I think that was the beginning that I realized that I was in a depressed state, and that was like shit. What, like last year before? We had been arguing over the same thing like multiple times. It was like a trigger for me, and I realized, like, I was like, bro, why the fuck does, and, you start asking, so why the fuck does this bother me so much? And it wasn't anything like she was doing. It was legit just like dumb shit, but it was like always like the same dumb shit in my mind. So it was like a trigger for me. And she was like, I can't. It was like a really big insecurity, and she was like, I can't help you with this. You need to go talk to somebody. Like, I don't know what's wrong with you, because this, like, she was like, you're like, you're spazzing, you're mad. She was like, and she's like, you're turning situations that literally are one or a two, and you're making them eight or a nine. And I didn't know that you could live with depression. Depression was portrayed to me as like you're constantly sad, like you're in, like, a dark place. You're like, you're like in the bed, you don't want to get out, like like depressed. But then I was like, no, like I have been walking around with it for a while. I have been letting like insecurities build up. I have been letting negative thoughts change my aura. I'm really big in the aura, and like somebody has saw me and it was like, bro, you just don't seem like like your energy is different. And I was like, bro, like you talking about, like I'm me, like I'm the same. Um, I had stopped being as open as a person as I was. I had stopped being outgoing. I had started like staying to myself a lot more. And I just started having like these triggers. And when she had said this, it was like because she had been telling me, she's like, if there's something bothering you, talk about it. And in my head, I'm like, there's nothing bothering me. It's the same old shit. And then I realized, I was like, bro, like when she had said those words to me, I was like, yo, like I I I literally realized in that moment that I was battling depression. I think that and it was nothing like nothing significantly had happened. Like I didn't really lose anybody. Like to me in my head, I was on the up. Like I had just got a good position at work. I had just started, making really good money, putting money aside, student loans. I had just started my master's program. Um, and like, I thought like everything was good, but it wasn't. I think that we get under the impression that depression happens because of significant circumstances that happen in our life that cause this mental state. And that's not true. Sometimes that is the cause. And sometimes um, it's little things that build up constantly in your mind that you don't get out and you don't talk about in your mind state that constantly causes you to be in this state. Um, First part of healing it was realizing where I was. A lot of it came from the fact that, going back to our last episode, I was existing and I wasn't living. I was on auto tune. Like I was literally automatic with everything. Like I was so scheduled. It was creepy scary. How like, and you got to realize your brain does this to protect you. Like mastery over your brain was like one of the biggest things I had to learn, because your brain is going to do everything to protect you. It's going to put you on this schedule. It made me get up at the same time, do the same time, like do this at the same time. And it loved it, because with a schedule, there's nothing, rarely there'll be a situation that happens to disrupt that schedule. And when it does, like when it did happen, I was getting real bad anxiety. Like, like I'd be like, fuck it, like I can't do this at this time. And it was like a really big deal, but it wasn't. And I just realized it was like a lot of things that I had been like dealing with at that time. So like the first step was like realizing it, realizing the mental state that I was in and what I was going through. Being vulnerable, brought to our earlier conversation, I had to learn that I wasn't talking to people. Like I said, I had to stop talking to people. I had to start talking to people about my problems. I had to start being open. I had to start being honest with not only them, but myself. I had to realize that it's okay to not be okay. Like you can be blessed, amazingly blessed, and that's good. And you should always thank God for your blessings, That does not mean that you have to be okay though. It's okay for you like to not be okay in that state of mind. And I had to realize that, because I was hard on myself, because I was like, I'm blessed, I'm favorably blessed. Like, I'm not gonna sweat about this small stuff, which is a good mindset to have. But then at the same time, you can't, like, it's like a double-edged sword with it. So that was one thing. I had to start reevaluating my life as well, and reevaluating circumstances that started happening that I thought were negative, and they weren't really that negative. Um, I heard this old saying before. It said that God always answers our prayers. Rarely does he answer them in the way that we expect him to. And I had to realize that what I thought was one of my darkest times was needed, because it brought me to a greater light in the end. I still battle with some of that now, with my circumstances and everything. But it's a healing process. I can't really give you, for people that's going through it, I sympathize and I empathize with you, but I can't really give you the guidebook for it. You have to go through it. You got to feel through it. Feel your emotions. I call it becoming more in tune with your emotions. And my dad taught me this trick of, he calls it like the 10 questions. ask yourself, like when something bothers you, ask yourself 10 questions about that. What's bothering you about it? When did it start bothering you? And go back. Start deciphering why things bother you and stuff like that. Um, and he said that you'll end up realizing that what you're upset about, what you're mad about, is a problem that really has nothing to do with the situation, but it's a trigger for you because it's like something else going on over there. I had to start doing that, asking myself, like, what am I really upset about and why am I upset about this? Um, and just speaking more positivity in my life. Um, I was like I said, I'm a pretty pessimistic person. I'm one of those people that if I don't see it directly in front of me right then and there, I don't, it's not happening or whatever. Um, you gotta stop that. You gotta speak positivity into your life constantly, even when you don't feel it, even when you don't think it's gonna happen, even when you yourself, you know, think that it won't happen. Speak it because it starts to become a habit, and then you will start realizing that over time, that when these negative thoughts come into your mind and stuff, you will start speaking positivity, and when that positivity start happening, you will start like habitually being like, okay, I'm getting down about this, but you start speaking of positivity. It's like literally like it becomes a habit, and you start, it becomes a healthier mindset. And so, but yeah, it's just it's a battle. It's a war. It's a really a mental warfare. People around here are walking around depressed and they don't know it, you know. And I sympathize with those people. I wish for everybody would be happy constantly, but that's not life. We're not gonna walk around every day happy. And one of my favorite situations from the Bible is like basically like remembering I'm gonna mess this, I'm gonna butcher it. Hey Duran, where you at? Do you remember when Moses had died and it was the second dude that God had appointed basically? What was his name? It's all right. So Moses had
Hey
died.
man, look, I ain't for. I'm not for
Well,
it.
I
You
know we
want to
need
call
forward
one
on
of
this
them?
episode, but it was the story about how
Okay.
basically the
Look, the
guy
only
that
story I know is about him parting the Red Sea. Right now, I'm on. Look, you got me there, buddy.
all right, so there's a story in the Bible that basically says that Moses had died, and everybody that like everybody that was like basically looking up to Moses was like, we need the next Moses. So God was like, I'm gonna appoint you to be Moses. Appoint this other guy to be Moses. And the other guy was basically like, well, I'm not Moses. Like I can't part no seas. I can't do this. I can't do that. I'm just this regular dude. And God was like, I never told you that you had to be Moses. It was like, I told you that I wanted you to be you, and I wanted you to do what you like. Don't try to imitate Moses and stuff like that. That hit home specifically for me because I always tried to compare myself to others. I always tried to be like, well, this person over here is doing that. I need to be doing that. And this person over here is doing this. And especially my dad, like I constantly compared myself to him. Like, okay, like he does this, like I gotta do this too, blah, blah, blah. And I realized like, no. Um, but the thing was God, he had told God, he was like, yo, like you're not talking to me. Like you're not here with me like you was with Moses. And he was like, I'm not gonna be. He said, I never told you that I was going to treat you how I treated Moses. I told you that I was going to be there with you when you was going through it. That resonated with me because that lets me know that even through the darkest times, he's right there, like always with me. And that gives me hope because like, and it just kind of like gets me kind of out of the dark spaces because of the fact that at the end of the day, like as long as God is walking with me and as long as I'm an image of him, there's nothing that I can't do. Tim, I remember we was in Food Line, and I never told you this, but you had said this to me one time, and because for real, like
What you happening?
when we started stalking, like at night, man, our conversations used to get real deep, and you used to really like help me, especially with me being young and mind like I was. I never forget you said, if we're created in the image of God, that means that we in ourselves are gods in our own right and ways.
Man,
And
what said that? Hey, look,
Huh?
I
hey,
literally
What
what?
you
But
been
no,
reading, boy?
yeah, yeah.
hey,
Hey,
Tim, let me
hey,
tell you,
nah, for real. I remember that though, man. Most definitely. I don't think people. I don't think people. Some people don't like to hear that because they don't want to believe. Like, what you trying to say that you're a god? Like,
see,
man,
and
look.
that's not what you were saying at all.
I mean,
But
but we are all.
exactly.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
made
get
me
you some water,
realize.
Joe, because you was a
That was
long-winded
a
motherfucker.
God.
Yeah, sorry.
Bro, I look, look. You was, I know you was going through it, bro. But I was like, yeah, damn, dude.
Yeah,
Man,
bro.
Good Lord.
It just helped me with that, and that's the end of
I
my
was
shit.
about to lose. I was about to lose signal for a second, bro.
Hey, look. I knew as soon as this topic came up, I said, yeah, this about to be all Joe right here.
You see why I skipped the middle one?
Man,
I ain't
Go
mean
ahead,
for it
Ray.
as long
Nah,
as it
you
was.
good.
I mean, I don't have nothing. This man that took up my time. I don't have anything, right? But nah, I don't really think I really had that moment of being in that state. Honestly, if I have, I didn't really realize it because I always try to keep a positive mindset anyway. So, I mean, if I have, like I said, I didn't realize it.
Gotcha.
yeah,
That's a
What
blessing.
about you,
I'm the
Tim?
same way. I don't let stuff bother me. I don't get down. I don't think I've ever really been depressed. I don't think.
Mhm.
Uh, I will say I did feel like a slight moment of like anxiety or something like that. Maybe a couple months ago. You know, what's up? No, my bad. Uh,
Nah, you just said a
no,
dad, dude.
Nah, the look got me saying,
no, but maybe like a couple months ago, right? When the whole this is crazy because you were talking about being vulnerable, being black men, and all this other stuff. So like when the whole pandemic was first kind of started with the whole COVID thing, and I think I don't know if it was around the same time, a little bit before, but with the whole George Floyd thing, and then the riots, and all this craziness, cop killings, and all this stuff, and it's just all full frontal. And then being black, having two black sons, and then my oldest being old enough to kind of know what's going on and kind of ask questions. So it's like, man, how do you prepare for that? But not only that, you know, um, weird stuff just going on like around surrounding counties, like kids kind of getting abducted, kind of, and it's like I got to be on guard. And then you start thinking about being a protector, being a provider, you know, and it's like you can talk to your woman about it, but they're not gonna fully understand, how you feel. Like, nah, I gotta make sure that everything's straight. Like, I gotta make sure nobody's coming here trying to take my babies, because it can happen clearly, and it hit home, so close to home. And then not only that, but I gotta make sure when I leave that I can make it back home, because we got a target on our back already just because of the color of our skin, you know. So all that was, I don't know if y'all realize, but that was all kind of happening at
Yeah.
once.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
At the same time. And then not only that, now you got to worry about covering your face up. I got to have a mask on. I got to make sure I'm washing my hands 30 times a day. I got to make sure that my kids are not sick and that they're safe. I got to make sure that it's not nobody trying to steal or take them. You know what I mean? And then not only that, now I got to watch my back to make sure that I can make it back home to be okay. And I'm like, man, as black fathers, like, it's stressful.
Phew.
Or it could be, you know what I mean, if you let it get to, granted, I have friends that have kids, so we can have these conversations and they understand where I'm coming from. But it's like, look, I need the whole arsenal. I gotta be ready, like the Taliban, in case something go down. You know what I mean? I don't know, because you never know. And with it happening so close to home, riots in Richmond, kids can't even be outside in their own yards and almost get abducted. Like, man, what's safe out here? I can't even let them play outside.
Right.
You know. So at that moment, I kind of had a slight moment of anxiety, I'll say, because I was just like, man, I don't even know what to do or what
Right.
to expect. But prepare for the, what is it? Pray for the best,
Or-
but
Pray for the worst.
prepare for the worst, or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's just how you got to be. You know what I mean? So that's the little moment I had, but I mean, I shook out of it. It
yeah.
was not that it wasn't a big deal, but anybody that's listening that felt that same way, look, I'm with you. I felt that.
Yeah. Sometimes
And
it's
because you
tough.
Hercules.
Hey, look,
Even that nigga sweated every once in a while, I think.
yeah, we ready on all ends. We just leave it like that.
right.
But yeah, that was a tough ass time, man. The beginning of 2020, that March, yeah, that shit was. I was like, God
Yeah.
damn, we have a break. I thought
Everything just started hitting
the black
all at
community was
once.
going through it collectively, boy. We was like, hey, nah, fuck
Yeah.
this.
My head was hurting.
Yeah,
Once
What?
again, it's nothing new. It's nothing new.
Yeah,
We always been going through that, and we always prevail. So that's black
Of
excellence,
course.
turning nothing into something. So
facts.
what you gonna throw at us next? Go ahead, throw it. We got
Yeah,
it.
damn. At this point,
We'll knock
shit.
it out the park like we always do.
Of course. But
Yeah,
yeah,
but hopefully, with this episode, we just wanted to help men, especially black men, help them feel more comfortable in having these conversations, because it's very important, especially it's important for your mental health overall anyway, to have these conversations, not hold it in, just let it out. We kind of talked about that before, but it's still need to be said. But moving on to our last segment of this episode, no cap, and we're gonna
Yeah.
take it to
Let Rand go first.
Joe.
Let Rand go
Joe,
first.
I'll go first.
We're gonna take it to Joe.
I'll go first, man. Ayo, no cap.
Y'all some shit.
Ayo, no cap. Trust the timing of your life. Everything that's meant for you will come to you. I'm a firm believer in that. God and the universe.
Here we go.
I believe
I'm a firm. Put that on the shirt.
But it must be so hard being as great as me, because y'all be some haters, man.
Nah.
I mean, it must be.
Trademark that. I'm a firm believer.
You know,
You can start seeing that all around.
Everything that's meant for you will come to you when it's your time. I saw something the other day that was like, this dude right here made all A's but can't find a job. The dude that got C's and D's making 30 mil. It's like what's meant for you will come to you. And I'm a firm believer in that. As long as you're working towards a goal and working towards bettering yourself and prosperity, then you'll always get what's meant for you. But you gotta, sometimes it's not about what you're doing, sometimes it's about that divine timing. And sometimes I had to realize, like, what God had planned for me and what I had planned for me was two totally different plans. He had a bigger, way better plan than I did. Like I said, we're all God's tapestries and we're all his pieces of work. And at the time when he painting us and he making us these wonderful works of art, it looks like a jumbled up pile of mess. And then when he done and you step back, you like, damn, this was beautiful. Sorry, Lord, I didn't mean cuss. But I'm a firm believer in that.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. No,
that's my no cap. I'm passing next no cap to Derek. We'll make sure that ran.
Oh, we doing.
Yeah. Go ahead, Derek. It's all you, Playboy.
Wow.
So, my no cap.
Nah, dog.
For this episode. Shut up, Ray. My no cap for this episode. This is also a quote that I got from the first
Watch
part
Derek
of the
steal
quote.
my shit.
Shut up. Once purpose is discovered, inspiration presents itself. That was the quote, and pretty much what I got from that is that momentum will come naturally. Once you actually find your true passion. Because now what you do is bigger than yourself. So now you realize that if you do give up, you're not just giving up on yourself, but you're giving up on other people and whatever that purpose is. So find that purpose, and the motivation will come afterwards. And I'll pass it off to Tim.
Oh,
Yeah, I know what you're saying. All right, so my real rap, no cap, all facts is gonna be be you unapologetically, man. Be yourself on the full frontal. You know what I mean? No matter what anybody else thinks, and say what you feel, and say what you feel. Like, because we talk about being
mean what you say.
Yeah, like just let it out. Be you. Don't hold back for nobody, and don't be afraid to say.
Show it to him, Derek. I think the
with the shirt.
What
the shirt say. That's right.
Be you, no one else. Exactly.
All right, I guess we'll give the no cap.
All right, Rand, what you got for us, Rand?
I know, man. Go ahead.
We're not gonna phone in for us. He can go before me either.
No.
He ain't gonna answer.
Look, listen. No cap. All right. If opportunity doesn't knock, build a door.
See, I knew this nigga was gonna come up with something. I don't know if it's the quotes or the delivery that get me every time.
Right. Hey, look, chill out, man. Look, if doors aren't opening for you, man, build your own door. Build your own door. Then that way you can open up your door to some other people to provide opportunities for other people. So it's all about helping the next man. All right, so if your doors aren't opening, build your own door and provide opportunity for other people.
That's how you end the episode.
That boy's gonna do something right there.
I'm telling you, man, I'm so sick of
Gonna
this
be
dude,
like Rain when I
man.
get older.
I'll tell you, I think we were saying that since what, middle school?
Right.
Hey, look,
But
y'all should
yeah,
let me win first, man.
nope.
Nah, we did.
Nope.
That's the
We
way you
did
end the
right.
episode.
That's the way you end it.
That's how we're gonna. Now you got responsibility.
Yep.
No,
Yeah,
don't worry about it. I'm gonna fix it next time. I ain't got one. We'll pull it for. Got
That's
one.
stupid.
All right.
But yeah, so with that, we come to the conclusion of this episode of Unfiltered Brothers. Appreciate our brother Tim joining us once again for this
Appreciate you, Tim.
episode.
Appreciate you.
Y'all follow his
Appreciate you guys letting me
brand.
get on.
Oh yeah, definitely for sure. Y'all follow his brand, All or Nothing Clothing on Facebook. Go to his website, allornothingstore.com. Make sure y'all follow us on social media, Unfiltered Brothers on Facebook, Unfiltered Bros on Twitter, and Unfiltered Brothers Podcast on Instagram. And y'all can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, and y'all can look at us, look at the podcast on YouTube as well. So with that, y'all be blessed, y'all be safe, and we out here.
Peace.
Stay blessed. Stay blessed.